I know that you have heard about the military-industrial complex, but what about the IIC? This is the immigration industrial complex. This is another layer to the mass deportation scheme of this administration that is important to understand, because as immoral and unethical and economically counterproductive as Donald Trump's mass deportation scheme is, as much as it violates the law, as much as it denies due process to people that have a right to due process, there is an entire other layer, which is all of the ways in which this thing is monetized. And that's what I want to talk about today. When Donald Trump says deport them all, what he's really doing is opening the floodgates to billions of dollars in private contracts, no-bid deals, occupancy guarantees at detention centers, and quotas, detention quotas. And a lot of that money, it's not going to border communities, it's not going to struggling cities or struggling small towns. It goes to corporations like Geog, or another one called CoreCivic. Their stock prices did well when Donald Trump was elected for his second term. So it's important to understand that there was a bet made on deportation, and the people who bet on the mass deportation scheme, they won. These companies, Geog and CoreCivic, they run detention centers, and most of them are private. Some of them in rural towns where jobs have already dried up decades ago. And a lot of these facilities get paid per detainee, $150 a day for adults, $300 for a family. And the kicker is that they often have minimum occupancy guarantees. And what that means is that their contract stipulates, even if there's no one in the facility, we're still going to pay you as if the facility had a certain occupancy rate. Maybe it's 80%, maybe it's 98%, maybe it's that it's full. And guess who is cashing in on this? Because this is not enforcement, of course, this is a business model. Behind the scenes, a lot of people affiliated with Donald Trump's very deportation scheme are making money from the fact that this is happening. You look at Trump's border czar, Tom Homan. He helped ramp up the ICE raids. He loves it. He thinks it's the best thing in the world. Well, one of the elements of Tom Homan liking this is that he was getting paid as a consultant by Geog just months before he joined the administration. A clear conflict of interest. It's the business plan. It's the revolving door. You cash out, you come back in, you write policy that benefits your last employer, and then maybe after it's all done, he goes back to Geog or wherever. You've got Stephen Miller, evil figure in this entire thing, the central architect in a way of Trump's immigration policy in both of Trump's administrations. Now it's his deputy chief of policy or staff, something like that. Stephen Miller has disclosed ownership of hundreds of thousands of dollars in Palantir Technology stock in one of his kids' brokerage accounts. Palantir, as we've talked about, is a major contractor for ICE. They give ICE tools that let them do real-time tracking and coordinate the deportations, systems for managing the so-called self-deportations, identification of targets. He owns stock, and he helped craft the aggressive deportation policies, including elements of it that rely on Palantir technology. Stephen Miller benefits from the very policy that he wrote financially. Tom Homan benefits from his former employer and now going in and making a policy package that benefits Geog. And then meanwhile, if you zoom out a little further, a lot of these same companies gave over $1 million to Trump-aligned political action committees for his 2024 inauguration. They were buying something. They got what they were buying. And then you now look at what we're seeing. The raids outside of Home Depot, children taken from schools, families torn apart without due process. And meanwhile, we've got ICE air travel contracts, electronic monitoring systems, private deportation flights. This stuff is all making a killing for the contractors that are involved. So when you look at that, it becomes even more impossible to say law and order is the goal here. This is logistical operationalizing to monetize human suffering. That's what at the core this is about. And they're not stopping. The bills keep coming. There's a new $59 billion House Republican package for funding of the next 5 years of deportation operations. These are investments. It's an investment in a removal economy. We've talked about the military-industrial complex, military contracting economy built to sustain endless war. Republicans love to talk about that when it's convenient. Sometimes they like to fuel it. Sometimes they go, it's terrible. But this is immigration as a permanent revenue stream. That's what they've really built here. And they're pushing to reopen closed prisons in places like Kansas and Louisiana, not because these are humane places, it's because it's profitable. Those are profitable, cheap cost places to operate facilities like this. So Trump didn't need to say the quiet part out loud. When he was talking about his deportation plan, he didn't need to say, and this is a great opportunity for companies to make a lot of money. They understood it. They donated to Trump. The contractors are already cashing checks for it. So understand that when Donald Trump promises mass deportations and screams about illegals, on the one hand, it is placating his base. It's riling up his base. But it's also a sign that a lot of his friends are going to be able to make money. It is all fascistic, but it's also a business venture at the end of the day, and we shouldn't forget that aspect of it.